Hi, welcome to taga-Toronto, tagaluto ng Toronto ito. Alam niyo na yun, taga-Toronto!
So we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. You guys ready for it?
Yeah!
Okay, stand by.
Happy Canada Day, Mayor! Good, good.
Where's my own to that side?
You have to stop first and then like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I work in my community because I absolutely love my community, and I work outside of my community. And do you know why I do that? Because oftentimes the people outside of the Indigenous community, such as yourselves, walk with a lot of privilege. With privilege comes power. With power, you get to make choices, and sometimes not just for yourself, but for more than just yourself, other nations. So I've had time to think about, okay, what could we do? What if we have no monetary value that we can put forth? Sometimes we think the only way is by donating money. Well, there's actually a lot of things. Your time and your energy is so precious, because when you shared that gift of time, you can never take it back. So you could choose to go to a powwow this year, and that's a celebration of our culture. And when you go there, you're gonna learn so many things. You're gonna see beautiful regalia. You're gonna hear singing and drumming and dancing and delicious food. Also, if you love Indigenous artisans, anything like that, earrings, moccasinan, you can get them directly from the community. So then you're not supporting a corporation that isn't actually Indigenous. You could get an orange shirt so that on September 30th, you could support that and your children as well. You can also educate yourself. That one's actually very easy. Because of the time we live in right now, there's access to information everywhere. You could easily Google some Indigenous knowledge and education through multiple different organizations here in Markham and Toronto. It's even happening in the school boards. If you do have money that you feel you could offer, there are a lot of Indigenous organizations like the Native Women's Resource Center. There's Misway Beacon, it's an employment center. For some reason, those are the only two coming up right now, but there's also the Native Women's Transition House, Totem Kenosha. These are all places that provide services for Indigenous people, Anishinaabe Health, Water First. So Mike had mentioned that there are a lot of Indigenous communities and they don't have clean water. When I toured Western Canada, they showed me that you could light the water coming out of the tap on fire with a lighter. And what's that from? From fracking, from drilling for oil. So you could even choose to just better care of the land. Like, look out here. What could you do to take care of the land? Where do you live? Could you share your land? Is there a way to provide space that's safe for Indigenous people? Could you advocate at your school that there should be more Indigenous education happening? Really, there's a lot of things. And one thing that every single one of you can do, no matter who you are, is reconcile with yourselves. Where you come from, your heritage. Before we can even start connecting to another nation, we have to think about what happened to our ancestors. Because when you start to delve into that journey and see what all of your people have gone through, you're gonna connect very deeply to the First Nations community. So there's a lot of similarities across our nations of colonization and oppression. Saying hello to you and your relatives that came before you. And I was telling you my spirit name. I'm Waterflower, heart medicine and grief medicine. I come from the Turtle Clan, and this means I'm a peacekeeper. I actually was raised in North Bay, but my Anishinaabe or First Nations ancestry is through my maternal grandfather, my mom's dad, and he came from Bear Island. I live in Shkoogog now, Shkoogog Island, traditional territories. And I am Anishinaabe, but I'm also mixed. So I'm Ojibwe, I'm Irish, and I'm French. I identify both as Anishinaabe and Métis. And I'm also Two-Spirit, so I'm a part of the queer community and identify as a queer Indigenous person. So the song I decided I'm going to sing for you right now is a very soothing song to the heartbeat, and it's a song I wrote in my language. It's the only time I've ever done that, and I had help from language carriers in the community. And I want to do that because on a day like today, it wasn't that long ago, this could have never happened. Look around, look at all the beautiful nations around you. We couldn't have gathered like this not that long ago, and I certainly wouldn't have been invited on stage to sing in my language. In this song, Miigwech Jawanam Maniro Hao 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 Miigwech Lingadianam Maniro Hao 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 Miigwech Kuwainam Chimigwech all my relations.
Ani, Ujo, and welcome. We're together again after a long and challenging 2 years. And today is about celebration because we are finally able to get together with family and friends to celebrate Canada Day and the country that we're proud to call home. And while we celebrate July 1st, we must also take time to remember and reflect. As we continue on our journey towards truth and reconciliation, we must realize that reconciliation is so much more than admitting past mistakes and listening. Reconciliation also requires action, and that action can be taken in many forms, both at the individual level, as a community, among friends, among different groups, and certainly across the nation. On this journey, is that in order to see a difference, we must do things differently. And with that, I would like to invite up John Webster.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For many Indigenous people, the struggle to achieve equity continues. While inequalities, injustices, and power imbalances still exist, we must consider how to develop meaningful action. Through this understanding, we can begin the rebuilding of friendly relationships, but most importantly, it requires love, respect, and compassion. This, my dear community, is called Reconciliation. We are humbled to have members from the Indigenous community here with us today to share with us today. And thank you, Aqua, for opening our ceremony and welcoming us. Your presence today is much appreciated. And I would like to invite Indigenous elder, storyteller, and healer Mike Ormsby to say a few words. Mike?
Where's yours, Mama? It's under the table. It's under the table. Jenny, come here. No, no, Mother. I don't want it to be wet. This is yours.
Miss Saga, Ojibwe, Anishinaabe, and Dao. Makwel Dodem. So I just announced myself as did Aqua when she started in our language. So my English name is Mike, but my Anishinaabe name is Debwe, which means speaks truth. So if you don't want the answer, don't ask me the question. I'm half Irish and half Ojibwe, so I'm a gibberish. And I'm going to bend your ears a little bit. Normally at this point, I would be just offering a prayer or whatever, but I thought I needed to address some of the things that are important for an Indigenous person on this particular day. So if you don't mind, I've prepared something which I'm going to read, okay? This is what I call Need to Know, reflecting on Canada's history. So please bear with me. Many Indigenous people will once again not be recognizing Canada Day. Many First Nations are even encouraging everyone to wear orange to remember the children lost to the residential school system. Rather than a day of celebration, July 1st can be a day of somber reflection and renewed commitments to furthering reconciliation. Although July 1st is typically a day of celebration for many, hopefully people can also use this day as an opportunity to reflect on what it means to be Canadian, while Indigenous people in this country continue to bear the scars of colonization, such as that from the residential school system. Many Indigenous people were very touched by the support over the past few years and would be pleased if that overwhelming sense of solidarity could be extended to this year's July 1st as well. Personally, I do not celebrate Canada Day as an Anishinaabe. To me, it is just another day, a day that everyone gets off, but it's one that I don't normally celebrate, normally. But I was asked to be here today, and I welcome this opportunity. I thought I should share some thoughts on why I don't normally celebrate this day, and on what could be done to turn things around. Many Indigenous people may have shared these thoughts in other forums, but I thought it was important that I would share that today, since I seem to be one of the chosen few, I guess. I hope these thoughts will make others, especially non-Indigenous folks, understand better what needs to be said and more needs to be done. I do not say what I'm about to say to offend anyone, so please understand that. I grew up in York Region. I grew up not knowing about my culture. The Nile was not a river in Egypt in my family. Reconciliation is not just about saying one is sorry.
Hi, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the bell button so that you will receive an automatic notification. Thank you very much and always take care.